Call the meeting to order, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll bring the flag up. Okay, everybody see the flag?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic
for which
which
it
stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
All right, so stop the share. And roll call, please.
All right, Mr. Hamill.
Mr. Hamill's here in Highland.
Clerk Flowers is here in Highland. Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick is here in Highland.
Mrs. Cooper.
Mrs. Cooper is here in Highland.
Mr. Howe.
Mr. Howe here in Highland.
Mrs. Lewis.
Mrs. Lewis here in Highland.
Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, Highland.
Counted for.
All right. I have no changes in the agenda to recommend unless somebody else has something they'd like to change. So somebody would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I would move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support Lewis.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mr. Howe.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamill.
Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next item, consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support Howe.
Okay,
Oh,
moved.
sorry, that was Cooper.
Got it. All right. Ready
moved
to vote?
Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper.
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick.
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia.
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Howe, yes.
Mr. Hamill.
Mr. Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
Quick question. Do you hear this thing ding dong every time somebody comes in on my computer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, all right, we have to put up with it. That's the way it is.
All right.
You got a ding dong for supervisor and it's ding dong all over.
Ding dong ditch.
We
All right,
got doorbells today for all the offices, all the sheds.
No.
way. Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah. So announcements and information. Township offices are closed Monday, September 6th in observance of Labor Day. The farmers market is on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to noon through October 9th. And then the next time I'd like to read this letter from Rick Colwall, White Lake Township Supervisor. This was to Mr. Tyler from the fire department. As supervisor of White Lake Township, I wanted to express my gratitude to every individual and organization for their assistance following the tornado of July 24th. Your quick response and willingness to put boots on the ground has been a vital part of White Lake Township's ability to help our residents begin to repair the damage from the storm. Our residents still have a lot of cleanup ahead, but knowing that we have eliminated any imminent danger to them is a great relief. Please accept my sincere and deepest appreciation for all your assistance. White Lake Township is so fortunate to have so many neighboring communities and friends willing to help us through this disaster. So I think it's a very nice letter from Mr. Kowal, who has proven
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
there was one for Tyler Martin, who's one of our firefighters, and Caleb Moreno, one of our other firefighters.
Okay.
I apologize, they weren't both sent over.
Well, I appreciate that, but and we appreciate that they were a part of that operation. So the next item is public comment. Does anybody have any public comment at this time? Now, bear with me because you might have to speak up because I'm.
Yes, this is Bill Anderson here, live on Saddle Ridge. Guys, I was reading over the notes relative to the reconstruction on the Township Hall, and I had a couple of questions, or whether or not there's additional information that I could obtain offline. One of them is I had the question about why the water well is being replaced. Can you explain that? And the other one is there data and supporting evidence or analysis that's available relative to the proposed solar installation?
Yeah, I'll answer both of those for you. Usually during public comment, we won't do that, but I will do it to make it so we don't have to send an email. The water well is right where the new auditorium is going to be. So, and then it also has to be moved further away from the new septic. So that's the answer on that one. Hopefully we'll get a new water well that is a little bit better than what we have too. The other item relating to the solar, what we did is we looked at the difference between installing a full building gen set, which would cost almost the same.
Mr. Supervisor, we're getting some kind of distortion. Somebody's clicking or something. I don't know. I can't barely hear you because there's something.
I don't know who that is.
It appears to be coming from the line identified as Walt, but he just muted himself.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, but I just want to hear what you're having to say too. So,
Okay, sorry about that. What I looked at, to be honest with you, was I've been looking into solar for some time. And in that process, what I realized is that when you install one of these full building generators, you end up paying $100 and some odd thousand for a unit that'll do so. And the day you fire it up, it's on its decline, and it costs a couple $1,000s a year. Every quarter, you got to have somebody come out and service it. You've got oil changes, just things like that. And then the other part is that it doesn't really pay for itself. It just costs money. It burns up gas and so on and so forth. Solar panel, the minute you pull it out of the box, it's generating electricity, literally. Even in the dark, it'll produce a half a volt or so, but as soon as there's any daylight, it's throwing out electricity. So the thought process is that the generator does nothing more than back you up so that you have enough electricity to operate your facility for X period of time, several days potentially. The way we design the building is electrically, each desk will have a single outlet that is controlled or is specifically adapted to the solar system. And what that allows it to do is everything else can basically, there'll also be some heat that'll be allocated to it. And will be backed up by a minor generator, which is more on a 10K or a 12 kilowatt hour basis instead of 160 kilowatts or whatever. And then the batteries will be, if need be, the genset can charge the batteries if they need to be charged. But the batteries should operate for a day to 2 days without any assistance. The solar panels, meantime, when we're operating the building, are also feeding into the building. So it's share costing the Edison bill. So the anticipation is that we'll probably save potentially $800 a month by having the solar panels on it. So the day you fire them up, they're actually paying you back. And yeah, over time, you'll have to probably replace some batteries and so on and so forth. But instead of having a generator set that just degrades over time and it'll fire up and run on its own to exercise it without ever giving any electricity to the building. So to me, it just made more sense to go forward with thinking about green, if you want to call it that, but in reality, thinking about what pays for what. And so anyways, that's why we're doing it. Did that answer your question there, Mr. Anderson?
Well, partially, but I would imagine that we might have to discuss more of this offline. I was just kind of interested in some of the additional analysis details, but I won't bog everybody down with that right now. There are costs, there are maintenance things. I'm sure that the panels don't last forever from everything that I keep hearing in various media commentaries and interviews. And like I say, I don't think that maintenance is necessarily going to be zero, and that is the cost of overall cost of the electricity that you get from the solar that much competitive to what you would be getting from Edison? Because I'm sure that you're not necessarily stating that this system is going to be a standalone system, that you won't be connected to Edison service. Is that correct?
It will be connected to Edison service.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all the time that it's not being used, it will be cutting back on our bill. So it's
Right.
it's part of the whole system, but it will be, feeding into the system, and Edison's not going to give you money back. They're just going to cut your bill back. So it doesn't truly backfeed the meter. So they're not going to pay you that. So anyways, yeah, it's too much involved to bore everybody with it here, but done a lot of research on it, and there's lots of data in every direction, but I think it's a good move. And I think it's something that will value add to the whole project. So, all right. Anybody else have a comment? Thank you. Public comment? You have to speak up because I can't.
I do have a question for Chief Chapman, if I could.
Sure.
Ken, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I just was curious. I asked this before and I can't remember what you told us, but what's happening with M59 in regards to, so you're going out for a fire for a call, let's say, how are we warning traffic, or just the sight of the lights, or?
So we had some foliage, some trees taken down on the adjacent property to the east of the fire station.
Okay.
Staff is directed to pull out slowly because the trucks are high. They project for a much farther distance, and then they slowly progress across the road before they take off and brake westbound traffic. We talked about doing traffic lights and signaling devices. The only problem is the everyday travelers on that pathway, they become complacent to the lights, and whether they change colors or not, they still blow right through them because they're not used to them changing colors.
Okay.
There's also the cost and maintenance aspect to the lighting system. So at this time, it's a caution thing. The guys have had a lot of practice over the last 8-9 days that we've been in the building, and it's worked out relatively well. Same with the crossover. That's only for emergency traffic. We had a couple people sneak over there and just coming out of our station and cross, and we put a kibosh to that only because the acceleration lane going eastbound isn't significant. There's a lot of blind spots. So unless there's emergency lights on the vehicles, we don't allow anybody to use the crossover.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's great. Thanks.
Welcome.
I have something to add to that if I could, Ken. I wondered if there's any way that we could just put signage up to warn that there's like a fire hall coming up. I think there's a lot of people that come through Highland that don't all the time, maybe. And just kind of a warning that it's there, and the cost wouldn't be as high.
That was one of the options we looked at, even getting a light or a sign with a light that just flashes yellow all the time.
Like a school, yeah, like school ahead or.
Yes. Unfortunately, there's a permitting process and a long-term system to get that approved by Michigan Department of Transportation. They don't require it, but if the board wanted us to pursue that, I'd be more than happy to start the process and put the applications out and get some signs put up.
The ones that I saw for schools were solar too, so.
Right.
Same conversation. So I'd encourage that.
Rick, I think Walt wants to say something.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him to. Whoop. Okay, I don't know what's going on with your phone there, Walt. Go ahead. Walt, your system's not working.
Who's doing the clicking?
That's Walt. I'm gonna have to mute you.
Rick, he might just be able to sign off and sign back on and get a better signal.
Walt, would you sign off, please, and sign back on?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but something's clicking and it's making it so nobody can really hear anything.
Is that any better?
No, it's still clicking.
Is that any better?
Still clicking. Just call back in and we'll put you back on.
Since he's gonna call back in, I have a public comment.
Go ahead.
So the farmer's market is running on Saturdays until October 9th. I encourage everybody to come and visit our farmer's market. They have bakeries, they have pretzels, cookies, they have vegetables, flowers, live music, eggs. It's a really good thing. A Pampered Chef is there too, if you're looking for Pampered Chef stuff. So it's 9 till noon, or 9 till, well, it says noon, but I think it's 1. And they have different vendors every week. So I think it's a good thing if we all show up or have a friend come with us and show up. They're doing a great job there.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more comment?
Can somebody talk about the fireworks that knows more than I do?
Okay, I guess that's me. This weekend, Saturday, September 4th, Township's doing fireworks here at the school property on John and 59. And the Save-A-Lot Plaza is hosting the festival portion of the event. Vendors, pony ride, petting zoo, Fast Eddie band, food trucks. So that's pretty much sums it up. Music, fun, fireworks. Yay.
Heidi, what time is the event at the Save-A-Lot?
Starts at 4 and Fast Eddie plays at 6 to 9. Pony rides are 6 to 8. We lost our face painter, but it's a COVID issue more than anything, I believe. But anyway, other fun stuff going on. Bouncers supplied by Ratliff this year. Yeah, lots of food trucks. Elephant ears, get your fix. Last time for the season, I would imagine. So
People are gonna need to plan a little differently because it gets dark so much earlier now than it does at the end of June.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be fireworks at dark. So don't wait until 9 to think about it because you'll miss them.
Thank you.
All right.
We can say something about the community service workers have been working in Highland Cemetery. They've been out there 3 Saturdays now, and they're doing a great job. And I really appreciate the work they're doing.
That's awesome.
All right. Gonna move on.
Is Walt back? It looks like he's back.
Walt,
I tried. Can you hear me now?
this thing is clicking like crazy. I don't know what you're calling. What are you calling that?
I just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Hamill, for your reply on the Six Rivers topic. And thank you to Tammy for your support in providing the other reference document I was looking for. I appreciate that very much. And then Mr. Anderson asked about the solar power, and the only other question I had on that was whether or not there's an opportunity for state or federal funds to help pay for that green energy initiative. So that was my other comment. And then Mr. Hamill, a standard lease agreement on page 180 of the packet. I think I found the answer. Is that the activity center that we're renting the space for? Okay.
Right.
So all my questions are answered. So thank you for your support.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks. All right. So, all right, so let's move to the next item, pending business. Mr. Long, you can unmute if you want. This next item is a zoning request, rezoning request. And I think it's fairly clear in the memorandum what went on. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the 15th. What it is there's a parcel that doesn't meet the depth, width to depth ratio. Its spine is a single piece. It's on Pettibone Lake Road. It is surrounded, there's state land, I believe, is on around it. It is very deep and very narrow. So to split it, it makes it difficult to meet the 4-to-1 ratio that's required for that type of split. So for every foot of width, you need a 4 foot, you can have 4 foot of depth. Anything beyond that is not considered splittable. So it is asking to vary from that zoning ordinance. So the Planning Commission held a public hearing on July 15th. There's no public comment. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the request as the proposed use is consistent with the stated goal of the master plan of preserving space, even though the zoning falls outside the master land use designation. While the land division will reduce the nonconformity of the resulting lots by eliminating a lot depth to width ratio issue. So this is a case where you got a father and a son. Father would like to leave some land to the son. It makes total sense. It really isn't going to change the dynamics of the overall look and feel of the properties in that area as well. And I think it's a very realistic and intelligent thing to allow to happen. And I agree with the Planning Commission. So anybody have any questions on that? Board members? Mr. Long, you want to make any comments?
Just thank you for your time, and I'm splitting it. My 2 sons, one will be on the front, one will be on the back, and it's not going to be like bowling alleys. The look from Pettibone won't change. You won't see any difference. It'll just be a situation where my son will have the opportunity to continue their families on the same property they grew up on. And as I said at the meeting before, our family's been there since '62, so we're not planning on going anywhere.
All right, well, we appreciate you being residents of Highland, and I think it's be cool to have your sons be able to carry on that tradition. So first we're gonna have to vote. So if there's no comments from the board members, then I guess what we could do is ask for a vote.
We need a motion.
Motion, yep.
I would move to grant the rezoning request from ARR Agricultural and Rural Residential to R-1.5 single family residential, 1.5 acre zoning district for parcel ID number 11-35-101-005.
Support. How?
I'm looking at this memo, and I wonder if this is a Lisa, are you there for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a kind of a repeat memo. I'm looking at the last line. It says at your August 2nd meeting, you'll be introducing the zoning. We already did that.
Yep.
So
and it says it on the actual ordinance already lists the date for introduction as August 2nd and a blank for adoption, which potentially would be today.
Right. All right. So we had a motion, and somebody second that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then any further question? If not, then a vote, please.
Mrs. Frederick?
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia?
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe?
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Mrs. Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Mr. Hamill, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. The next item is
Thank you, board. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome very much. And very nice to meet you in the Zoom meeting. Someday we'll have to meet in person. So feel free.
That will take place.
Yeah, feel free to come down to the town hall or whenever you want. The town hall is now in the old fire hall, number 1. So we're here to serve you. If you look at me, I'm not sitting in the log cabin that Beth is. I'm sitting in the shed that we have inside the town hall or the old fire hall. So this is my office. I have my own shed. So, all right, we'll move on to the next item. That's Six Rivers Acquisition Assistant Agreement. The first thing I want to do is Walt, who talked earlier, he had some questions that I think I probably should I'll address them. I know we've discussed them. Some of them have been in closed session. So, and this has been going on for quite a while. So it's kind of hard to piece all the times we've had these discussions. But so one of the questions was, the first question he had was, why is this land purchase important for the township to do? And my answer to that was that we're losing open space rapidly in Highland. And I think anybody that has run for office here will agree that the mandate from the public has been, we moved here because of the rural atmosphere and we want to maintain that rural atmosphere. Well, in order to do that, you got to keep some open land. And as a part of our park program, it was stated that we would like to have a park in each quadrant of the township. We have one in each, all but the southwest quadrant, and this is an opportunity to do that. And so this is an opportunity to get 60 contiguous acres on Hickory Ridge Road to be able to put in a different kind of park, one that's low impact, quiet, not designed for baseball, football, any of the sports. It'll be designed for the average human to go and enjoy, as well as most likely dogs and whatever. Anyways, that's what's the reason behind it. It came up because the family that owns it had kind of indicated they'd like to keep it consistently one piece and not get turned into residential parcels. So this is how we could help do that. Another question is, why are we using Six Rivers to buy the property? Well, what happens is, in order to buy this property, we really need to get a DNR grant, which we've done for all the parks that we have. So almost all the parks. Duck Lake was a DNR grant. Hickory Ridge Pines, the DNR grant. We added on to Hickory Ridge Pines Park, 15 acres with a DNR grant. And when you do that, the average cost of the township is 25%. The DNR pays the balance. So you can't buy the land first and then apply for the grant. So what happens is, a good example was Carl Jareen wanted to sell us the 15 acres that adjoined the Hickory Ridge Pines Park. And as a consequence, he had to wait a couple years for us to get the grant and get the money to pay him out. In this case, the family doesn't really want to wait for 2 years because they've got 5 kids, of which one's in their 80s and one's in their late 70s, and waiting a couple of years might not be a good thing. So Six Rivers Conservancy offered to be an agent to purchase, and they've been doing this with other projects around the state here. And so what they do is they have resources. They do all the due diligence, and they purchase directly from the property owner. Now the property owner gets paid out, and they're free to do as they want with their money. And then what we do is we come in and we work on a DNR grant. We get the grant and then we pay Six Rivers back and take them out of the loop. So that's why Six Rivers is involved. The other part of it is that it fulfills part of a good part of what Six Rivers is there for, and that's to conserve land. And so they're more than happy to work with us. They'll also help us to to work on a DNR grant to help assure that we get it. Hopefully we can do it in the first try. If not, you get a couple tries at it. So, and they're willing to work with us on that. So, and another one was, another question had to do with, let's see here. How are we going to pay for it? Well, that is kind of an interesting concept. What we have is we have two parcels of land that the township owns. There's one on Clyde Road that's 15 acres, and there's one on the southeast corner of Middle and Hickory Ridge that's 3 acres. We had those appraised. They were appraised combined at $230,000. So the intent is to, and we've already, as a board, we've agreed that we would put them up for sale. So we'll put those parcels up for sale. Hopefully we'll get at least the 230. We may get more. That will, our 25% share of the cost of the property that the DNR would purchase would be somewhere around 130 to 135,000. If we bring in 230,000 through the sale of real estate, what we end up is a net positive 100 grand. So we exchanged essentially 18 acres of land that we can't use for 60 acres that become usable land, and we end up in a net positive position. So at 521,000, I think is what the amount was for the property and some change. That's a scary number, but when you start looking at the way that you go about paying for it or financing it, it makes a lot more sense. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So that should do it on that. So the question tonight is, we need to authorize me to sign the Six Rivers Acquisition Assistance Agreement. Now we have run this through our attorney, and it's been, and our attorney sent it back to Six Rivers. Six Rivers put it in front of their attorney. They said, okay. So we have a document that's been vetted, and I'd like to, I guess somebody else should make the motion, since I'm the one that's got to sign it. So somebody want to make a motion?
I can make the motion. I move to authorize the supervisor to sign the Six Rivers Acquisition Assistance Agreement.
Support Salvia.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion on it? Okay, so let's vote. Oh, somebody's dinging in here. Okay, vote please.
All right, Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Lewis, yes.
Okay, Mr. Howe,
For how, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Mrs. Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item. This is where we get into the conversation mode here. So we've got two items in one. It's really Township Hall building renovation, and in joint or tandem construction time, the remodel of the sheriff's building. So what we need to do tonight is we need to sign the amendment to the contract that we have with Summit, who is our general contractor. And included in your packet is a lot of information in there. And it's tiny print, but it's not on purpose. So I guess what we should do, Mike, you want to, Mike O'Leary, our architect, you want to pipe in here and see if you want to go through this?
Yeah, I can. What we did is we got Summit on board as our construction manager, and we completed our final construction drawings around I want to say late July 23rd or something like that, and issued those drawings to go out for bidding to the subcontractors that Summit would go out to come up with a final number and a hard number for the price of the town hall project and the police station project, and completing those as one construction project. So what you have in your packet is two different draft contracts, one for the Township Hall and one for the police station renovation, sheriff's renovation. And then within those contracts, you'll see exhibits which spell out every line item for the particular projects. And along with the dollar amounts, you'll also see a number of subcontractor pricing that was obtained for each category. And we do this in order for you to see that we did go and talk to several different trades within each heading, and see that we're getting the most competitive price. And in most instances, we were able to take the low number of the different subcontractors that bid in each category. So when it's all said and done, for the construction cost of the town hall project, we ended up at a number of $6,051,204. So where we were in terms of our budget number back a month or so ago, well, actually it was a couple months ago, we were able to come in under that budget, which was good news. And the overall project cost does include some contingency dollars to cover any unforeseen items during construction as well. So in our estimate back a couple months ago did not include that. So and then just jumping over to the sheriff's project, we did basically the same thing, using the same subcontractors to bid on each subcategory. It did not have as many subcategories as the Township Hall does, but that overall number came in at $132,284. And the project also includes some contingency dollars as well.
I think you goofed on that one there, Mike. 832,000?
$832,284.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an overall summary of how the process went. So we've got, Summit is in the process of getting subcontractors contracts together, and they're ready to get started as soon as we are approved to proceed. So we'll hit the ground running. So that's kind of an overview. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions. There's a lot of, like Rick said, there's a lot of information in the packet, but we tried to be as frugal as we could. We tried to talk to as many subcontractors as we could possibly get a hold of. The construction industry is just kind of crazy right now, but Summit tried very hard and talked to so many different people. And we also tried to get anybody local that was interested to take a look at our drawings to give us a number. A few people were able to, some of them declined. But we did get a lot of people looking at the drawings, so.
So we also met last week, was it, Mike? A couple days ago, 2 days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
And we went through and hammered down some other numbers. So this number was higher, but we factored out some stuff. So when we did our move into the old fire hall, the company that moved us also moves major offices, and when they a lot of times they'll get a bunch of furniture from an entire office that is in perfect condition, and he said they either have to scrap it. He said like the last one they did, they had enough for like, I think it was like 20, 30 offices and beautiful furniture, and they got $320 in scrap out of it. And so we're going to stay in touch with him. He's willing to trade one of the sheds as well. So we're trying to barter. So what we did is we took $100,000 out of the furniture allowance. And so we're going to look at that with a, keep the sharp pen on that one and see how we can work this out. And I think we can probably come up with something that's going to work well. So we have almost a year to be able to find some furniture and, rethink it. So that's just one of the things we did. So there's some other numbers in there that we went through and tweaked. And so that's how we were able to get that under what the original budget that we had figured of $6,123,000 some change. So there's a lot to this project, and we're ready to roll. I do want to make a comment while we got a chance here, because this is part of it. I'm going to show those who haven't seen it yet. This is where we're at. I'm actually sitting in my office, which is facing the direction that you're looking at in this picture. So this is downtown Highland now. So the building on the right here with the mouse, where you see the Highland sign in there, that's the building department. The next one is the zoning administrator's department. The one at the end is the treasurer's office. Chantel sits in there. The one to the left is the assessors. This is the clerks. This is the planning department. And then the one you can't see, two you can't see are off to the left and behind Beth's is the building officials, and then mine, supervisor's office. And then Jenny, Tammy, and Karen Jensen all have offices in the air-conditioned part. Everybody else has to wear headbands and sweatbands and stuff. They get to be in the chill, but no, we've actually been able to keep it cool, ironically, in this sweltering weather. The first day we didn't have it under control, but we've got it under control now. It seems all right. So we'll see how winter goes. But I think that this is it's really turned out pretty cool. Everybody's really excited about, to the most degree, about moving forward. Of course, knowing that and hopefully in a year, they'll have something a little more real. But the beauty is that when this is all said and done, those sheds will be going to new owners. And another thing is to show you how we've been trying to save money in this whole project is Beth had contacted this company I was talking about with the furniture, and they figured it would take 2 days to move. And it would be $10,000. They moved us in 1 day. It was $6,200. Everything got moved out of the town hall. And these guys were unbelievable. I mean, they moved every cabinet. They tore apart all the furniture, reassembled the furniture. It's just really, it was amazing. And also at this time, I want to give kudos to one person in particular is Beth Corwin. Beth set up all of this. I mean, she laid it all out in the CAD program. She had everything down to the inch. She organized the movers. She has busted her butt every day trying to help everybody else get in their spaces, and just a phenomenal job. And then Steve Tino organized the electrical. He organized we got some bathrooms going in, 3 new bathrooms in there. We modified offices. Jennifer and I laid carpet in their offices over the weekend. We did this whole thing in less than 7 days and up and running. And I think that's phenomenal. And it's with the help of everybody, but those Tino and Beth Corwin, Steve Tino and Beth Corwin just absolutely kicked butt on this and made it happen. And Jeremy as well. I have to give Jeremy in there too, because he was right there humping the heavy stuff, and it really has been phenomenal. He's changed toilets. He's done everything you can imagine. He's laid carpet and other, so it's amazing. And we painted, laid carpet. We did all that stuff. So we are working to maximize our ability to be able to save as much money as possible to put towards the new facility, and we'll continue to treat the township with the same concerns and make sure that we continue to save money so that we can do more things in the community. So enough on that stuff. So
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
Well, I haven't got a chance to come over yet, but I will. But I was trying to visualize what the plan was. This is pretty cool. I mean, nice to see a picture of it, because I kind of had an idea what you're doing, but great job. This is I didn't know. I would say I didn't know what to expect totally. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. So looks really cool. So good job, everybody.
I did have a chance to walk through a few days ago, and everybody was buzzing, working really hard. Looks good, Rick. Well done.
it's actually just a fake picture from Cobo Hall. It's the home show.
No, that is our offices.
It looks awesome. You guys did a great job.
And can I add also that I just am amazed at the office staff, how much they have worked with this whole process too. The fact that they had everything packed up so much, I think that really helped the move to go smoother.
For sure.
And they've been really flexible with, you know, the arrangements and putting up with the heat a bit, and they all deserve kudos.
Yep.
Nice.
It's an amazing thing to move to, you know, to just say, oh, guess what? We're packing up and we're moving tomorrow, you know, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out the door and jamming yourselves into this thing. But the reality is that building is almost the same size as what we moved out of.
Really?
Yeah. So square footage was very close to the same.
Well, we better be in the Township magazine. That's all I know. We better have some spread in there about doing
We're
this.
going to get
That's a good idea to write an article for that.
We should.
this thing out there. This would be something that a lot of people, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So now back to Mike, and I guess what our project at hand is to get the opportunity to sign 2 documents. So we'll probably have to have 2 motions made. Let me see if I can pull this put this away. So one of them would be a motion to approve.
Can I take a shot at it?
Yeah.
Okay. I move to approve or authorize the supervisor to sign Exhibit A, guarantee maximum price amendment for the township renovation project.
Okay.
Is that good?
That will cover.
Put a dollar amount in there.
I can, in the amount of 6 million, I gotta find it, sorry. I'm looking. $6,051,204.46.
Would that be not to exceed?
Not to exceed.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed max.
Support Cooper.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Nice.
Are we done discussing?
Are we just done discussing? Anybody?
Nothing.
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, big yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Okay, now we need another motion for the police deputies renovation.
I move to authorize the supervisor to sign Exhibit A guaranteed max price amendment for Oakland County Sheriff's Substation exterior renovation. And as it's stated in the maximum price amendment, not to exceed $832,284.92.
Support Lewis.
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion on this one? I got something. I know Lieutenant Snyder requested bulletproof glass in the bathroom. I was curious why.
Rude.
Sorry, Matt.
Because I'm the only one over 6'2".
All right, so that's enough of my discussion on that. I'm ready for a vote if everybody else is. Okay, any further discussion?
All right,
Let's vote.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, big yes again.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Hamel, big yes.
motion carries.
So, all right, well, I'd like to make a comment that I really appreciate the way that Mike O'Leary and Lynn Hout and Associates have gone about their business. And I mean, the whole way through, we didn't have to, it wasn't guessing and things. And it was very well presented, very well put together. And I think you hit the ball right out of the park on the first shot. And this is exciting and at the same time a little nerve-wracking because it's a big project.
Yeah, it's big.
And it's it's something that we saved for a long time. And just to give an example, in the past, I think it's 8 years, we've been able to put away $2.9 million alone towards that. And I think that's just by paying attention to the budget, and that's not just, that's 2 full terms of being in office. And I think that's a good example of how to make sure you make your money go the furthest. And by having this building rejuvenated in a big way, I think it'll, go for another 50 plus years, 63 years, I hope, because I think that's what 63 or 67. I'm trying to think how many years the previous town hall was around. We want it to be a piece that the people that live in our community will appreciate and can see the value in it, and without having to add any taxes, mind you. And I think that's important. So anybody else like to say anything? I think that's it for me.
I think the bid proposal was well done, well organized, well detailed, and well supervised. So good job on that.
Thanks.
I agree with Joe 100%. Good job.
The devil's in the details, and you've got a lot of stuff covered very, very carefully. Well done.
And
ditto.
We got to give a lot of credit to the Summit group that we hired to be the general contractor. They're the Mike's our liaison to protect us, moving forward. He's the designer, and he'll be our overseer to a degree. And then we've hired a general contractor that'll oversee the contractors. And Summit has been right on top of stuff. They were there this morning doing some key interviews with one example is K&K. Keith Capella was there, and he won the bid for doing the tear out and putting in all the underground work. And that was worth watching that conversation, because I like to learn, and you learn what are all the details that have to be looked at in order to be able to move this thing forward. And Keith was just right on top of it. I was very impressed, very confident in what he'll be able to do. So we also have a lot of asbestos tile in that building. So that's going to have to that'll be removed. The mitigation group was there this morning going through some final stuff. So Mike, thank you very much. And
I just want to say one more thing when you need a chance.
Sure.
I just think it's very exciting times in Highland. I mean, with the fire stations and this and just everything. And then, you know, obviously once we get moved back and you've got a place to store the buses, you know, it's just really cool. I mean, it's really, you know, we're utilizing it. We're multi-purposing and, you know, repurposing, I guess is a better word, but doing some good stuff. And so I think it's just really good. It's great times. I mean, we've been try some things haven't always worked the way we wanted it, but we've been trying hard on certain things. But this really seems to be going the right direction. So I think that's just it's a cool time. I see the fire station every day, and it's really cool. Fire Station 1, and it's really neat. And my wife gets sick of me. I'm driving through there all the time to see what's going on. What are we going through here again? Well, I think it's cool to see it. I think it's really neat that looking forward to coming over, getting the tour inside, and just really good times. I think things are going in the right direction. So great job, everybody.
I'd like to just add a comment to that too. I think it's awesome because we're all going to have the benefit of it and get to enjoy it now, but future generations will too, which I think is really exciting.
Well, thank you. It's been a great board to work on this. So, all right, Mike, thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Didn't you have dark hair before?
Yeah, my first meeting, it was dark. Now it's gray. The final meeting, I'll be bald.
Just be careful. Don't work too hard. It happens.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what I'm headed. We'll see.
So thanks again, Mike. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. So thanks again, everybody. This is a great thing. Really cool.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, sir.
I couldn't find my note on public comment. Can I step back in that for a moment?
Sure.
A good friend of mine, John Dickey, lives on Reed Road, and I asked him to make sure he wrote a letter to the board and to you. Did you receive a letter from John Dickey regarding the noise coming from the rock supply place that apparently all the neighbors on Reed Road are kind of upset with that?
I haven't seen one.
Okay. I had a conversation with him. He's also the son of a good friend of mine, and he's also slowly succumbing to cancer. But he was quite concerned about the amount of noise. They're dumping boulders and rocks, and it's more than just landscape now. It's, they're doing a lot of rock noise, and the neighbors in that area are kind of concerned about the constant noise from trucks and so forth. So I told him make sure he wrote a letter documenting what they thought and get it to your office. So you didn't receive that yet?
No.
Okay. I'll follow up on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Joe, can I ask what part of Reed Road?
Well, they live right behind that office building. So the office building on the east side of the road, then they're the next building. And he says it's just a lot of noise all the time with the semis dumping boulders. And so anyway, that was a comment.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you,
all right,
Mr. Supervisor.
All right, next item, we're going to go to new business. Rental lease for activity center temporary location. Heidi has done a great job of trying to keep her operation in some semblance of order. I don't know how she's unfortunately a bigger victim than we are over this. We have a place to go, and Heidi has been moved the kitchen for Meals on Wheels to the you still are doing it. You're going to do it out of the Duck Lake Pines concession stand. So that's one thing she pulled together. Another thing is that she's not going to be able to use the center. So she went out and she found, because you can't fit everybody into the annex on Livingston Road. So she's maximized the use of that space already. And she went and found some space in the shoe building. Dr. Lepley, who owns a good chunk of that building, had some space that was coming up available. And that's what this is about. So the lease agreement, put that away. Shoot.
Page 180.
Yeah, well, I made it disappear somehow. Okay. Let's see if I can put it in there. So Lisa, is there anything you need to say on this, or?
Not unless you have any questions. We asked for some changes to the lease agreement, which they made. There was only one section, which was the indemnification. Looks like we had to offer a compromise to be happy with that language. We could live with that language. Otherwise, we're satisfied with the lease.
So the way it works is there's an initial payout for a couple months that's a little bit higher. I'm trying to see where that's at in here.
Page 2.
It's in there someplace.
Page 2 above 7.
There you go.
Right there it is. Okay. $3,500 a month for 2 months, and then it goes down to $1,500 a month. I think that's fair. It gives a place that's close. There's parking there. I got to give you kudos, Heidi, for doing what you're doing here. You're more out of the box than I am most of the time. And I think that you do a good job at it. So is there anything you want to describe to it, Heidi?
I'm just hoping and praying for approval this evening so we can move forward and kind of, get folks settled into the new activities. And we already have things, some programs set up for October to run over there. Everybody's really excited, actually.
Great.
So if anybody has any questions of how the cost changes throughout the next few months, she currently has a lease person in there at $37.50 a month. They're occupying, or were slated to occupy, until November 1st. And that's why the September and October rent is at $3,500. So I even got her to kind of give us a break on that part of it. And then she is going at the $1,500 a month rate for us. So I tried to get it to where maybe she could write it off as a donation, tax write-off, but yeah, I tried. Couldn't hurt to ask, right?
It's still twisted up around her back.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
Heidi.
Yes, ma'am.
So it takes some time to get a current renter out. What is the plan?
The current renter is actually out except for some furniture, and that's about all that's there and has been there for a few months now since I started negotiating with her. And I'm hoping, I've even asked her to see if they would donate that to the center because it's really nice furniture. But anyway, that's a whole nother deal. They are out, but that is why we have the option to move in immediately and go forward if the board approves.
So what happens if they say, no, we have a lease and we're not leaving until our lease is over?
They're already gone. They're not utilizing the space.
Well, they're not vacated it though.
As much to my knowledge, Doctor believes they have moved on. Dr. Lepley, the landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Good point, but.
Okay, so as long as we don't sign
the doctor
lease,
You should have a statement from the doctor saying that they've been relieved of their lease. You know, that would be helpful for the file.
Sure.
Can we just hold off on signing the lease until we are sure that we have access to the building?
Yeah.
I have a question. If we sign the lease and it says that we have access to the building, then that, I mean, they have to uphold on their end.
That's right.
Lisa?
Lisa?
I agree with Clerk Flowers, but the motion can simply authorize the supervisor to sign the lease agreement upon confirmation that the previous tenant has vacated and that lease is terminated.
And
That's correct.
I'll make that the motion.
Support, Sylvia.
Okay, moved and support. I do want to make one change. I don't see why I need to put my social security number in there.
It would probably be our tax ID number.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be.
Yeah, it's the township's tax ID number. Heidi, do you know how many square feet it is?
It's half of the size that we have here. So it's just under 700. It's around 700 square feet. It's a lot less than what we have.
Okay, and that's the comparison I was looking for.
Yeah, it's, if you know the facility here, it's basically the community room squared off or rectangled off proper without all the slants and jogs that are in the walls that we have currently. So if you take the community room off and make a proper rectangle out of it, that's about what we have.
Okay.
That's a good space.
And you'll utilize that for activities, so it's not just office space.
No,
right?
there's
It's
two
for activities.
offices. A bathroom section would be like where our cabinetry is in the community room. And a small storage space that is off of the larger room that we have access to. And basically we've determined that because we have numerous activities at the annex with Meals on Wheels going on over at the park, that the three of us that are employed will kind of rotate through monitoring each of those areas, keeping for safety factor that Patrice is not alone at the park during that time frame of Meals on Wheels. Then somebody will have to go check Building 2's activities and ongoings, furniture arrangements, all those issues. And then we're all basically going to be in one office. And then the other small office in the new facility we're going to use for social space and movies. The large area in the new facility would be utilized for cards, bingo, exercise, and the classes we have arranged in the upcoming schedule.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
So Lisa helped with the motion. I made the motion. Somebody seconded it?
Joe, did Joe support?
I supported it.
Okay, any other discussion?
I just want to point out, this will require a budget amendment, but I didn't prepare anything because I wasn't sure which way it was going to go. So we'll do it next month.
I did propose in the 2022 budget, spoke with Amy about it and Treasurer Frederick about the line item of the rental agreement and the $3,500 for September and October. That would have to be an amendment for this year, correct? There is one thing I wanted to point out, that we do have a budget line item that was currently in place for $19,500 for a fourth employee for the center. The 2022 rental cost will be $16,500. So ultimately, I'm pointing out the fact we're not exceeding even our current budget.
Right.
Overall.
Good.
And I will address the situation about the current tenant and the appropriate dismissal of their occupancy.
Okay.
All right.
Work, Heidi.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right, let's vote on this.
All right, Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Mr. Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yay.
Okay. Let's move on to the next item. Good job, Heidi.
Thank you.
Next item is a budget amendment for the Metro Authority. So we're going to make a motion to approve that budget amendment.
I would move to approve the budget amendment to move the money from Metro, well, whichever way it's for the chloride covering as presented.
Support. How?
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
All right, Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item, budget amendment for election reimbursement. Proposed new budget, $35,000. So
To cover the costs of this year's election, which is a special election, it'll be reimbursed by the school district.
I would move to approve the election cost budget amendment as presented.
Support. How?
moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, final item is the budget amendment for capital improvement. And
I would go,
this is to transfer funds from general fund balance in the capital improvement fund. This is to keep us in line with our 40-60%. Where does it put us at, Heidi? Tammy, I'm sorry.
We're over 40% with this. If we wanted to take it all the way down to 40%, it would have been like 2,200,000 and change.
All right.
So it
keep
gets us
where we're
close
supposed
to
to be.
40%. Right.
All right. So, did you make a motion, Judy, or
I was getting there.
I'll let that?
I would move to approve the budget amendment to transfer the capital improvement money for $2 million as presented.
Support Lewis.
Well, Beth can have it.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Mr. Howe, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
All right. On that note, then meeting is.
I got one more thing I guess I want to bring up real quick because I want to know if now that since we're all together, I just want to, I've got the same email twice about vaccine passports and mandates. And I wonder if everybody else has gotten those emails telling me that, I'm going to read it just real quick. And I just want to make one statement about this and be done. But dear, and I won't mention who sent it to me, but dear Mr. Howe, as your constituent and your boss, I demand that you do everything in your power to ban vaccine mandates and passports. This is an unconstitutional deprivation of liberty without due process and is a critical issue to me. It is unconscionable that the Americans' freedom of movement would be threatened in an attempt to coerce people to get vaccinated, even as Anthony Fauci is urging masks to be worn by vaccinated and unvaccinated. I'll be watching how you vote. And I just wonder if anybody else has received. I got the first one. I just blew it off. I'm not going to lie. And then I just got the same exact email. So they're not very creative. They're cutting and pasting. But I guess I want to put it out there. First of all, yes, you are my constituent, but you're not my boss. And that goes for, I guess that's the way I'm going to speak. And then, if it costs me votes in the future or whatever, but, don't threaten. And if you want to talk to me, we can talk, but if anybody's actually paying attention here in terms of these people, but I don't know if everybody else has gotten these and why I'm getting them, I don't know. But if you haven't got them, I guess I'm just going solo on this, but I don't know. Yes, I'm proud to be your trustee and you're my constituent, but you are not my boss. I'll give you the 37 cents back or whatever it is. My dad worked for the state police, got the same line years ago. He'd give people 20 cents, that's why I feel too. So anyways, but I just didn't know if anybody else was getting them. And I thought while we're all together, I wanted to say something. So it disappoints me a little bit that, I understand they're very motivated on this topic. I get it, but it's the same email. Now, first time around, I get it, but then I get the same email second time and it's the exact same wording. So obviously there's a few people out there cutting and pasting and sending in emails. So anyway, I just wanted to make that statement. It frustrates me sometimes that the way people act. And I get the excitement over this, and I get the intent, or I get not the intent. I get the motivation behind it. But I just want to let you know that I appreciate you texting me or sending me emails, but you're not my boss. That's all I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Well put.
Yep.
No, I haven't received that. I'm surprised, but
I did, and my response to that is I don't think we have any say on mandates for masks in Highland. I would think that that's coming out of the health department. The closest to local, it would be at Oakland County.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we don't have any jurisdiction over that. So it's not even a question that's posed to us.
Right. Exactly. I know, but that's people don't understand. So, to threaten me how I'm voting and stuff, just drives me nuts. So sorry, but thanks, Judy. I'm glad, thank you. I'm glad somebody else is on the hot seat with me. Thanks.
yeah, you're not running solo. All right.
Are we the only two that's gotten them?
I haven't received anything.
Oh, really?
How about the other trustees, Joe?
No.
Or
I haven't.
Really? Just
haven't
you
seen
and me,
it.
huh, Brian?
okay, what's that?
I said I only got one.
I got a second one today, I think. So that's why first time around wasn't a big deal, and I'm reading my emails today, and I go, what? Again?
Well,
and I go, that sounds awful familiar. It's the same thing I got before.
On the good side of this, people are always told to make sure if they have concerns to write your
Sure.
representatives.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
whether they word things good or bad, at least they're taking the initiative to write congressmen. That's a
Right.
useless thing to write.
I'm not against that, Joe. I agree
No, I
with the way it's worded, though. The threat, that's not like the threat.
They are concerned about things. So
True. Oh yeah, I get the motivation. I get the excitement behind it. It is a big deal to a lot of people. And it's a big deal to all of us. I mean,
right.
going back to school. We're back into masks again, and I was hoping we weren't going to be, but that's the decision by the health department, and that's the
Bottom line
decision
with
made.
all of it. Bottom line with all of it is mutual respect for each other and where we're
Correct.
coming from, because
Correct.
we're all coming from a different place.
Right.
So
But anyway,
respect.
that's how I feel. So thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. All right. On that note, sayonara. Thanks for
Great meeting.
coming. Thanks
Bye.
we're on our way.
We're on our way.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.